but their dream wouldn't come true. Zell, no! Please! The opportunity for their dream to rise to the level of Madame Rose's personal guard would not come. After all, Madame Rose would be poisoned today. Zell, please, for the love of God. If a large number of core members suddenly died, then the poison would be suspected no matter how perfect the poison was. So Rose must be the only one poisoned. Zell has been serving drinks, waiting for the right time to come, but it never came. They had moved to another room, but everyone had brought plates of pasta and glasses with them. They'd probably continue with a smaller pasta gathering here. Since people were still eating and drinking, there was still a chance. This was the first and last chance of poisoning Madame Rose. Please, sweetheart. It sounds simple to ask you to be my guards. However, it's the same as asking you to bear the brunt of any danger that comes to me. We are prepared. It would be an honor to die in your place. My, how brave. In that case, I'd like to start with why I must not die now. Well, no one wants to die. Thank you, Charles, for your input. Shut up and listen. What I say doesn't leave this room. Don't tell anyone. Can you promise me that? They all nodded silently. Rose smiled and nodded back. You see, I think the Japanese are a lazy people. Oliver and the others were taken aback, unable to believe that this was coming from Madame Rose, lady of charity and leader of her Japanese countrymen. However, Rose smiled gently. Apparently, she wasn't saying it as an insult. There's nothing bad about being lazy. Laziness was a Japanese virtue. On a world scale, it's rare to find nations as lazy as Japan is on various matters. Their lack of concern for crime prevention is particularly noteworthy, and they think even protecting one's own life is a dirty thing. No, that's not quite right. They think being suspicious of people is an evil thing. No, it's completely natural. I'm suspicious of everyone. So protecting against crime means suspecting your neighbor, making it evil. Taking preventative measures means you're suspicious, which is evil. That's why they developed a strange culture, where people openly expose themselves to harm, communicating their trust by being defenseless. What's the ideal downtown life that comes to the minds of all Japanese people? A disorderly but warm scene with small houses packed in tightly. If you put your futon out to dry on the balcony, you strike up a conversation with the housewife of the opposite balcony. The neighborhood kids dash around in groups, and the housewives forget their children as they enjoy a good gossip. Fuck my kids. The husband casually goes into his neighbor's yard, saying, "It's been a while since we played Go, so how about a game?" And they start a match under the eaves. A scene from a Japanese utopia where everyone interacts like family. That sounds like fucking shit. I'm sorry. Fuck neighbors. They're all weird. All the neighbors treat each other like family. Even ringing a doorbell is overly formal. We just walk right in. Fuck. In this world, setting up barriers to people is unrefined, even violent. So everyone becomes defenseless, showing their trust. And everyone responding to that trust does not harm their neighbor, even though they are defenseless. Ideally, but then you have fucking bad people. Bad people always will exist. It's the people called the Japanese who hold this strange utopia as an ideal. However, it goes without saying that the world isn't overflowing with mercy. You protect yourself by your own hand. That's the unwritten rule of the world. Back during the time Japan isolated itself, cutting off its ties from the world, that was still fine. However, when the black ships came and opened the country, Japan was faced with harsh reality. When they turned their eyes outside of Japan, they found a world where people killing and eating each other was a natural thing. I don't think people naturally eat each other. Okay, let's calm down. That's something that just doesn't naturally happen, usually, unless you're like, there's literally no food around. People usually don't make it a pastime to eat other people. At the time, the world was all about invading and getting invaded. Advancing nations used their military power to invade undeveloped countries. and they ruled over them for entire centuries. Would anyone choose to be invaded? No. This bizarre people who viewed defenselessness as a way to display their trust received a terrible shock when the country was opened. You know what happened next? Japan switched gears into becoming a militant nation as though overcome by panic. Of course, after lavishing in our centuries of defenseless peace, we couldn't become lions all of a sudden. I mean, sorry, but inside Japan wasn't exactly rainbows and sunshines, everyone's holding hands and jerking off. I seem to remember there were a lot of feudal wars in Japan. Fucking a lot. But yeah, that was completely a-okay, guys. Perhaps the phrase weak dogs howl the most applies here. They howled at China in the West at the same time, and they also hated China for literally ever, picking fights one after another without considering the relative strengths between countries. Almost like an elementary schooler who's just entering his rebellious period. This is hard sugarcoating. Oh my god. What? What is this sugarcoating? What happened next goes without saying. Japan ended up paying for its long period of peace and for failing to cultivate its character by interacting with the world. The Japanese are lazy. I think being ultra nationalistic and wanting to take over the fucking Pacific kind of precludes you from being like, just goofing, guys. It's just a rebellious period. Come on, Rose. You know better. A foolish people will rely on the goodwill of others even for their own protection. And most importantly, they're immature compared to the other peoples of the world. We're nothing more than children in international society that's matured. Japan is just a child in the international society. That certainly wasn't just a personal opinion held by Rose alone. Measured by the standards of modern civilization, they'd be like a boy of 12 as compared with our development of 45 years. That was a statement made later in 1951 by MacArthur to the American Senate, Armed Forces, and Foreign Relations Committees. Yeah, MacArthur was also... yeah. The Japanese at the time, who didn't really understand his true meaning, were very indignant at being treated like children, but Rose spoke with assurance. No, the Japanese are children. Because our country was isolated and positioned at the eastern tip of the world, we've been no more than children idling our time away until today. During that time, the world grew through interactions with neighboring countries, gaining strength and resilience. It's very hard for us to catch up starting now, but it also helps when you build alliances with other people. We continue to get buried by American and Chinese immigrants. The Japanese people will most certainly be destroyed in the near future. This Tokyo scenery we have, like something from a foreign country, will become the usual in Japan. Rose calmly and coldly predicted Japan's near future. Surely it was faintly visible in the depths of her eyes. A future where Japanese don't act like Japanese. No, a future where the Japanese are destroyed. Oliver and the others gulped at the tangible presence of that future. We won't content ourselves with waiting for that future to come. Primavera must be the breakwater. And we must be the guides of our countrymen. Amidst the crowds of immigrants from Western and Eastern countries, the Japanese have to realize. We have to realize that we must become strong. We must learn to work hard and protect ourselves, to graduate from the laziness that lets us lavish in the goodwill of others, as though it's perfectly natural. I think that only when that happens will the Japanese be able to sit on an even footing with the Americans and Chinese and share in prosperity. That's the ideal I hold, as a person who loves this country. I have to guide them, so that the people can learn diligence and resilience from the Americans and Chinese. It may take a long time, and I might not be able to accomplish it on my own. So at least until the time comes, I must not die, no matter what. Not until the Japanese find the strength to get by in the world, or at least not until they start walking down that path. And she dies. When she finishes talking, Rose drank all the water left in her glass in one gulp. Even though her expression had been a bit scary a second ago, it was peaceful again now. Sorry for talking so much. However, I want you to think about this. At this rate, our culture will be lost. Losing our culture means losing the community of our countrymen. What happens at warm family get-togethers? Aren't they overflowing with Japanese culture and tradition? Hey, that's what happens with culture. It evolves. It changes. Please try and remember. Remember celebrating the Japanese New Year's in Setsuban and Hinamatsuri with your families. In the summer, there was Tanabata and the Bon Festival, and in the autumn, there was Otsukimi, right? Sure, fuck me. So I was stunned, but she remembered back just as Rose had asked. And when she saw, she was her father, her mother, her big sister, and her little brothers, all of them. She recalled fond memories of the Japanese New Year. Mother was strict sometimes, but she was so kind. My big sister was a meanie. Whenever I got something even a little cool, she'd say, "You're still too young for this," and take it. Typical. But she always was the one to beat up the bullies. Queen. My little brothers were small, so whenever there was an event going on, they'd get excited and run around. I must have picked up my big sister's bad habits. My little brothers tried to do all sorts of things, but I always scolded them, saying they were too young. If I had known what would happen later, I'd have let them do whatever they wanted, as much as they liked. However, just remembering that heartwarming New Year's family get-together made my eyes teary. My eyes water, sorry. Madame Rose is saying she wants to protect that. At this rate, if the Japanese were swallowed up by American Chinese culture, that heartwarming scene of the Japanese New Year will vanish too. When that happens, I might not be able to remember that family get-together anymore. At long last, my tears began to fall from my eyes. I couldn't stop them. It's just that I had been drawn back into warm memories. This person, this Madame Rose, was trying to protect my only happy memory. No one else protected me. I had to sacrifice my body just to live. So my only reason for living was my tie to my father. I thought that as long as I could cling to that, I didn't need anything else. Madame Rose was trying to protect the truly precious memory of my whole family. Zell? I'm sorry. It's strange. I can't stop crying. Rose, their families are. Oh, I'm sorry. That was thoughtless of me. Please don't take it badly. Of course we won't take it badly. We're back alley rats. However, we had families until the great disaster. We usually keep it holed up deep inside us. We don't remember it too often, but for every last one of us, it's one treasure we could never throw away. Yeah, it's the one treasure we could never throw away, isn't it? And to think of it, Nina was looking a bit teared up too. Even with these self-styled alley rats, once had families, and they all had memories they could never abandon. Madame Rose understood this, and she protected those memories. She could tell from their solemn gazes that they all understood Rose's greatness. Zell, please. Please. I talk so much, my throat's getting dry. No! So there's a bottle of mineral water over there. Could you fill my glass? With absolute defenselessness, she handed her empty glass to me. The bottle of mineral water was on the side table by the wall. It was perfectly positioned to create a blind spot with my back while pouring. Why, Madame Rose? If you claim that defenselessly trusting people is what makes the Japanese fools, why do you trust me? I took her glass. I could tell that my fingers were shaking. They were shaking it as much as... no. More than the first time I killed a person. Why? I know. All the people I've killed in the past have been villains who'd taken advantage of the misfortune of others. All their hands were filled with nothing but selfish desires, and they never gave a thought for the happiness of others. But this person's different. This is a person who must not be allowed to die. Don't do it! Turned my back to them and picked up the bottle of mineral water from the side table. If I just fill this glass and put the poison in, it'll be over. The poison was inside a ring-shaped assassin's tool. When used, a small pill would fall out. It would melt rapidly, without leaving any smell or taste. And with just a single gulp, the victim would die from a heart attack a week later. No one would think it would any more than an unfortunate sudden illness. Even the victim wouldn't realize that she'd been poisoned. There was no antidote. If you swallowed it, death was certain. What will happen if I hesitate to poison her? My mission will fail and my father's life will end. To protect my father's life, I must kill Madame Rose, the one who's trying to protect my family's memory. My family's memories and my father are both precious treasures to me. I can't abandon either of them, but I can only protect one of them. There's no getting around it. It's from my father, after all. Looks like Madame Rose really has to die. My mind went blank and I thought I could hear my father scolding me. No. Father would be happy to have his daughter become a murderer for his own sake. No, I'm acting like a spoiled brat. I can already tell your father's not someone that would like it. I'm just saying, please don't. I'm just forcing my reason for murder, my sin upon my father. I'm being unfaithful to my parents. Father was right. I just can't stop clinging to my parents. Father told me to separate from my parents, to put myself first. If so, my soul is whispering to me. Madame Rose, the person, must not be killed. Please! If I drop the poison into that quivering surface of water, it will all end. If I raise my hand to the glass like this, and twist the device in the ring just a little, the pill will fall and melt. I can't do it. Father, Madame Rose's ideals feel as important to me as you do. What should I do? I slowly pulled back the hand that I'd raised above the surface of the water. I hadn't dropped the poison. Just thinking about what that meant made my mind go blank. It tingled, I swayed and I shivered. But this is right. Father, this is okay, right? When I picked up the swirling glass and turned around, my heart leapt. Because right before my eyes and nose, Madame Rose was standing there, smiling. It was a trap! In other words, she had been standing right behind me the whole time. She'd been watching every move I made from over my shoulder. My voice froze. Her gaze pierced me, and I thought I was going to suffocate. However, she was smiling. Thank you, Zell. Madame Rose? Thank you for protecting my life. She'd seen through all of it. I don't know why, but she had figured out that I was trying to poison her. Too smart! Queen! After all, that ring doesn't suit you. Aha! Memed. I immediately tried to hide the ring, but it was too late. My mind goes completely blank. But now we know. Okay, this is fine. Actually, this is the best case scenario. Because now, she doesn't necessarily have to do anything, but it's easy to, like, come out to Rose and be like, yeah, okay. I'm getting, like, fucking blackmailed into, like, trying to kill you. How did she guess? How did I let it slip? No. In the next moment, my body moved regardless of my will. I've been a mistress for so many underworld bosses. I've seen people get killed like it was a show over and over again. I'll be killed, and killed brutally, humorously, mercilessly. Fear raced through my body. I dashed out of the room before I knew what I was doing. I dashed through the packed halls toward the exit, bouncing off of people's shoulders. It had grown dim outside, and it was starting to drizzle. They weren't going to do anything, though. The cool air outside felt as cool and hard as concrete. It felt as though my lungs had been filled with that merciless icy concrete and frozen solid. But if I stopped, I'd die. I could remember those many brutal deaths, people with their ears, arms, and legs cut off before they died. I remember the time my brothers were killed. I remember the time my sister was killed. I remember the time my mother was killed. Oh, I could stop. Zell ran through the intersection with a red light and was bathed with the sound of car horns. Consumed by a fear so great it was like the whole city was trying to swallow her whole. Zell was unable to stop. That moment, Zell's hand was grabbed from behind. Stop, let it go, let's go, let go! Zell, calm down, damn it, what's wrong? What happened all of a sudden? Charles didn't know what he was doing either. As he refused to let Zell go, wrenched her hand free from his grasp. As he refused to let Zell wrench her hand free from his grasp, the two of them fell into a puddle. Oliver and Nina caught up with them a second later. Dang you guys are so fast. What on earth happened? Why did you suddenly run away, Zell? Let go, let go! We don't even know what's wrong. Anyway, we gotta calm her down. She's all drenched. She'll get a cold at this rate. Carry her to the music shop. Wayne, what on earth? Basically, Zell's an assassin hired to kill Madame Rose. Huh? What are you talking about, Wayne? Zell wouldn't do that. I won't let you insult Zell like that. Not even you. I won't. Stop, Charles. Wayne, is that true? I can't believe it. I won't let you even you get away with saying that, Wayne. Zell's an assassin. She's an enemy? Her codename's Totorobi. I hear she's talented, treasured personal killer of Chinatowns. A professional killer? That's insane! Normally, I would have preferred to strangle her on the spot, but Rose told me not to. Fuck you, Wayne. Get the fuck out of here. It's time for you to talk, Zell. I made the mistake of trusting you, someone who never received the baptism of the alleys. My naivete is partially responsible. Take her to the music shop, Oliver, Charles. Make sure she doesn't get away. Yeah, boss. You're kidding, right? Wayne didn't answer and turned to face away from them. Oliver bit back his remaining hesitation and grabbed Zell's right arm. Not with gentleness as he would an ally, but as an enemy. This sucks, man. Charles hesitantly took Zell's left arm. But after just touching it, he slowly lowered his arm. Charles, this has got to be a lie. It's got to be a lie, right, Zell? Tell me it's a lie. I'm sorry. Zell? Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're lying. I don't believe it. This has got to be a lie, isn't it, Wayne? Tell me it's a lie. I don't want it. Zell's too good to be a killer. Look, she didn't do anything. Fuck Wang. It's fine. She didn't kill anyone. We can just let it go. Let's just let it go. Let's just drop it, okay? We can work with her. Because she clearly chose not to do it. It's so upsetting. The sky was leaden gray. It might start pouring any moment. There's already a downpour over City 23, but the clouds seem to just be on the brink over City 22. The GDS, the Chinese mafia based in City 22. Its influence stretched beyond its control over City 22 and was concurrently encroaching on the neighboring cities by extending Chinatown. That influence was prominent among the underworlds across Tokyo's independent cities, and you could probably put it at the top of the list of Eastern Japan. However, the position of its leaders was empty at the moment. Its previous charismatic leader, Sun Zilong, had passed away. I'm glad they put in Chinese there. Or Japanese? Yeah, that's Japanese. Management of the GDS had been taken over by the Council of Elders, which had once been a group of advisors. Oh no. Chinese. Normally, the position of the leader should have been passed to his son, studying overseas, Sun Zilong. Oh. Fucking Junior. Oh, God. Immediately following his death. The son's name is spelled the same as the father's in English, but pronounced and written differently in Chinese. Well, no shit, it's different. It's a junior. That's why English does junior. It's so much easier. The father's name is written with the characters whatever or purple dragon, while the son's name is written with the characters for young dragon. However, because Zilong was a minor at the time, the Council of Elders decided on its own that it would run the GDS as his representative until he gained sufficient virtue. Yeah, I don't know if he'd want to be called Young Dragon, like when he's like 80 or something. In actual fact, his son Zilong was still young, and though his school grades were excellent, he still had a long way to go before he'd been ready to sit on the throne of the Underworld's king. What? Sure. From that moment onwards, the GDS split into two factions. One was the former leader's faction. Members of this felt that Sun Zilong, the young lord, was the only inheritor, and that the council had simply been acting as temporary representative. The leading member of this group was Li. Those young VIPs whose talent had been recognized by the former leader and who had been placed in high positions still felt obligated to him and swore loyalty to his son. They were young, but their talent, as had been recognized by the former leader, was the real thing. Oh my god, all these fucking commas. Oh, Jesus. And they had enough power that even the Council of Elders couldn't ignore them. Of course, their leading member, Li, was a young dragon whom the Council had always been watching and fearing. Well, hello there, honored brother. Good day to you. Oh, if it isn't little Li Mai, so you've come here. It's a bit early, but I was thinking about having dinner now. Would you care to join me? The other faction was the Council faction. It was made up of people who claimed that the Council was the real power over the GDS. By their interpretation, when the young lord had acknowledged that fact, a bloodless transfer of power had in fact occurred. To them, the young lord and his followers were too young. Those in that group were much lower on the scale of seniority, which gave people the right to have their voices heard, they claimed. In addition, they thought the existence of a former leader's faction would eventually become a source for discord. They were always looking out for a chance to purge it. Its leading member was Wang Yonhong. My apologies. I've already made plans for dinner. Now that's a surprise. At this time, you've already made plans? Oh, did you eat a late lunch? Embarrassing it as is, I must take better care of my health. Lately, every time I ask you to a meal, my timing's always been rotten, hasn't it? Wonder if fate of the stars is driving us apart. I'm certain nothing of the sort is the case. It was a farce. Even Wang didn't really expect Li to join him for a meal. It was light sarcasm that was half a greeting. Back when Li was Wang's subordinate, he had been taught the ways of the underworld. However, there were now representatives for each respective faction. On the surface, it appeared that their old teacher-pupil relationship will still continue. However, both Li and Wang were calculating inside their heads how to take down and bury their opponent if he ever let his guard down.